is up, everybody? It's Nye. Welcome back to another episode of Dance Through the Decades. Okay, so last week we left off with talking about the Harlem Renaissance and transitioning into movements such as the civil rights movements as well as the Black Power movement. Dance was seen as another form of resistance, accompanying activism that was taking place in the streets, but just in the studio. And similar to in the streets, there were also forms of injustice happening within the entertainment industry as well. Okay, so we covered a bit of the injustice like exploitation, but I want to get a bit more in depth about it. Within the dance industry more specifically, people were being barred from training at various studios, were underpaid and overworked, and generally overlooked due to racism and a societal disbelief that Black American dancers could hold the same prestige, especially in styles of dance like ballet. But there were people speaking out against these things. A notable figure that I want to highlight in today's episodes is Pearl Premise. She was a dancer, a scholar, and an activist who constantly used her voice to speak out against racial injustice within the States. Unbeknownst to many, she worked with and inspired many notable activists and artists like Maya Angelou, Langston Hughes, and Alvin Ailey. And speaking of Alvin Ailey, you can't talk about dance without talking about the Alvin Ailey. Born in 1931, as a kid, Alvin Ailey used to work on cotton fields, but eventually he found a voice and a home in dance. He eventually trained under Lester Horton, who founded one of the first integrated dance studios and eventually became the director for Horton Studio in 1953 before opening his own, the Alvin Ailey Dance Company. The Alvin Ailey Dance Company opened in 1958 in New York. Specializing in modern dance and ballet, Ailey used dance to convey the stories, histories, and struggles of Black people in his pieces. Some iconic Ailey pieces include Revelation, which debuted in 1960, Cry in 1971, and Night Creatures in 1974. Through this company, dancers of all different walks of life were able to find their footing within an industry that used to tell them that they couldn't be there because they weren't prestigious enough, or they weren't fancy enough, or they weren't talented enough. Ailey used his platform to advocate for brotherhood and unity that would transcend race. And he doesn't stand alone. Dance and advocacy have always gone like this. Some dancer advocates that I can think of include Judith Jamison, Katherine Dunham, Tony Award winner Tally Beatty, and Misty Copeland. These activists used their platforms to speak out against these injustices on behalf of our people. At the same time that activists were speaking out in the streets during the civil rights movement, if you're peeping the timeline, as well as the Black Power movement. And for more tangible examples of activism in art, you should come out tomorrow to the Art Gala hosted by IU Student Government, Noir, BSU, and Future Black Leaders Incorporated at the Neil Marshall at 6:30. The theme is actually the Black Power movement, so we're totally on brand with today's episode. Alright, that's all I have for this week. Come back next week for the last and final episode of Dance Through the Decades. It's been real. Bye!